Alrighty, what's going on, y'all? Jonathan here with Boston Collectors, and today's video is all about the Tusken Raider. Now, I'm very excited to have this. I actually grabbed two of these. For those of you who already know about what this figure might look like, I mean, there are other reviewers out there, right? But we wait for our favorite content creators, and hopefully that's me. Speaking of, again, if you wanted to see an early preview of this, over on our TikTok, we actually went ahead and showcased that a little bit. A much faster unboxing, not really a review. It seems as if everybody over there is enjoying it. So this is where we do the unboxing and review for you all to enjoy. Now, again, if you want to follow us over there on TikTok, feel free to do so. Feel free to check us out over on Instagram. And obviously, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We finally got the community tab. We're super excited for that. So without further ado, let's get into the figure. Now, the Tusken Raider TMS 028, this is going to come from the Mandalorian line. Now, before we actually dive into it, we're not going to be spoiling anything. You don't have to worry about Book of Boba Fett spoilers or what's to come, what's happened. Today is literally Wednesday. We just got the new episode. So again, we're not going to be spoiling that for you all today. So again, the Mandalorian Tusken Raider. We got the, Hot Toys, right? At this point, we know how their boxes are, but in case you don't, we have the engraved Star Wars logo there. We have the cigar wrap here on the from the front to the sides. The figure in the middle here. We also get a shot of the Tusken Raider there on the front. And then we also have that awesome shot here on the side as well. Now on the back, you sort of have your where-done-its, not necessarily who-done-its. And then finally, on the opposite side here, you have the Tusken Raider TMS 028 and back to the front. So let's go ahead and let's check out that art print. And we have the art print. What is surprising, though, is that they don't have multiple Tusken Raiders. I mean, obviously, they don't have to have 2 and 3 of them pictured here for you to feel like you need more, right? But it would, I feel like, make you feel a little bit more obligated. Not saying that they should, but it makes sense. So one thing to note, on the front of the box, which we just saw, we already had the belt there on the waistline, right? Well, if you pay attention, they also switched out some of the belts there as well, which we'll get into shortly. But it's an awesome art print nevertheless. So let's go ahead and let's see what that clamshell is looking like. And it's a lot of shine there. I apologize. We're going to have 2 layers. So we have the hands and the accessories on top here, partial accessories. We're also going to have the rest of it, which we're here for the figure, right? We have the figure there in the middle. We have the weapons on the sides and so on. So let's go ahead and let's free him. And here we go. So like I said before, we already unboxed a whole nother Tusken Raider, so I'm familiar with how everything works here. There is one thing that I want to point out before I actually pull this figure out, is I really wish that they somehow package this a little bit better, maybe for it to sort of hold down this way versus curving in, because it makes it a little bit awkward there in my opinion, just sort of to the side versus down. But I understand, like, it's probably important for us to see a lot of the design in that handle, but it would have made it that much easier to sort of pull out the figure here. But let's go ahead and let's check out that portrait. Now this is going to be molded plastic, sculpted plastic. You're not going to have any die cast pieces on the face at all. Very posable head, and the only metallic part is actually here on this portion of the figure. The rest of it, it appears die cast, or it appears metallic because of the paint job. Very nice figure. So, well, with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the accessories. To start, we have the open palm hands included on the figure, which can be used for shouting, also used to hold the black melon. Next up, we have a pair of semi-closed fists, and I say semi only due to the soft goods around the hand. We also have a pair of gaffy stick wielding hands used for both gaffy sticks and the rifle if you so choose. It's 100% possible to recreate the infamous shouting gesture as well. Next, we're only given one trigger gesture for the left hand. This can be used for the long rifle included with the figure without too much struggle. We also have one point gesturing finger for the left hand that can be used as a command or another means to communicate and signal with other raiders. Moving on to the accessories, Hot Toys went ahead and included the binocs, which are given as a trade offer to pass through their land by Din Djarin. It's a very cool accessory to add to the figure with really nice weathering effects, but you're going to be cradling them with the relaxants that are included. We also have a long rifle that can either be held by the figure or strapped around the body. There's a lot of detail work on this weapon that can be seen later on in the detail section of the video. As for the strap, it's very delicate and held by metallic rings. I'd exercise caution when utilizing the strap feature. The pack on the strap is also movable, so it isn't awkwardly placed as well. Next, we have one of the gaffy sticks with a mace and a rifle stock as an extra weapon of choice to pose with. We also have the more iconic gaffy stick that can be included as well. Keep in mind, neither weapon have die-cast components, and the paint job is meant to replicate it instead. We also have the sand base that we can't seem to get enough of. They probably didn't see my video on this, and if you haven't, definitely consider checking it out after this. We're given a crotch cradler to hold up the figure, which is preferable over the waist grabber. The rest is pretty standard as seen with previous bases. Hot Toys went ahead and included a separate bandolier with the figure, which is definitely a plus. I personally prefer the pouches. We'll get into that soon though. For now, let's talk about the robe. We do have bendable wiring on the inside of the seam line, and it feels like just enough for me personally. For those of you who want more going on, you have to customize your robe to your liking. Regardless, I'm glad they went ahead and made this work. Out of the box, we have two of the bandoliers equipped on the figure, as well as the beige pouches around the waist. All of these can be removed as they're held together by Velcro. The buckles are there as decorations and not used for adjusting the overall size of the bandoliers. Removing and equipping the bandoliers are relatively easy. You can opt for several different looks that you would like for your Tusken Raider, which is why adding the extra bandolier is a huge plus in my opinion. Here you can go for what I feel is more of a hand-to-hand fighting style appearance with your Raider, while they're fully unequipped and held back by extra pouches and bandoliers. Or if you'd like, we can start equipping them with extra accessories until we find the variation that speaks to us the most. Again, I personally love the look of all the pouches. There isn't much to discuss when it comes to the portrait, honestly. And before we start, you can't unravel nor unmask this portrait to reveal another portrait. With that out of the way, I will say, I'm glad they chose sculpted plastic over soft goods. Manipulating that and posing over time would have been tough. For those of you with The Last Jedi Ray, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There aren't any die-cast components anywhere on the portrait. In fact, everything that might look die-cast is simply painted to appear that way. Outside of that, there's a lot of depth and shadows that make the wraps genuinely appear lifelike. There's a lot of posability in the neck region, so much so that the neck felt a little loose, but not too much where you lose the pose you're going for. So much like the portrait we just went over, the boots are pretty much the same. We don't have a split cup boot, so all the articulation is coming from the ankle. And while we're here, I do want to point out the subtle weathering on the lower portion of the garments. The camera doesn't really pick it up well, and you'll also have to really pay attention to the color difference when looking for it. The pants are just that, pants, so it's not too much to go over, but these too have subtle weathering near the upper parts of the boots. Again, going over from top down, notice the brightness of the clothing versus the lower region. As mentioned before, the bandoliers and the waist pouches are detachable by Velcro and can be swapped out. They don't hinder posing, but for those of you in hot climates, you'll definitely have to condition the pleather on this figure. Overall, the posability with and without the accessories on the Tusken Raider is pretty good to say the least. So to start things off, I went ahead and added Solo Darth Maul, then the Deluxe Beskar Mando, and I also wanted to throw in Qui-Gon Jinn as well. And I don't own old Ben, so... We also have Luke Skywalker, surprisingly short. And last but certainly not least, Anakin. Alright, so this was almost a 5 out of 5 figure. I just can't do it without the hands being the way they are, honestly. A pair of each would have been great, but one trigger finger and one pointing finger is just kind of odd to me, especially since the Raiders use sign language to speak with each other. I think it would have been good to have a pair. For this one, I'll give it a 4.9 out of 5, which is still really high. Outside of the hands though, I genuinely feel this figure is a high quality piece. I understand the $250 price tag is a bit scary, but for the craftsmanship that's going into this piece, it warrants the asking price. I did only pick up 2, so I'm curious though if you all weren't picking it up, did anything change your mind about it? Cause yeah. Also stay tuned for Captain Rex. He'll be coming out soon. I'm just going to take my time with it. You all will definitely enjoy it. And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. This is Jonathan with Boston Collectors, and we'll catch you on the flippity flop.